Effortless by McKeown. Life does not have to be difficult in every aspect. However, a lot of people think that everything worthwhile demands all-out effort. Just consider the phrases hard effort pays off in blood, sweat, and tears while discussing a project. However, fantastic results are not always guaranteed when you work this hard. So why not attempt a different strategy? Why not go the easy road and accomplish more with less effort rather than working yourself to the bone and burning out? Even though it might seem impossible, it is feasible. You'll learn how a bathtub may facilitate your work, the tiny action that began Netflix, and the benefits of a rocky beginning. Have you ever been struck by how professional athletes seem to have it all together? Consider the act of a basketball player shooting. They dribble the ball for a short while before bending their knees and flicking it into the goal. They repeatedly make this shot, and it looks absolutely natural. Basketball shot perfection requires a lot of practice, no doubt about it. Nevertheless, adopting the proper attitude is another thing that is beneficial. With this strategy, everything you do will also appear and feel effortless. The main takeaway from this is, achieving effortlessness begins with entering an effortless state and ends with easy results. You must first enter the effortless state in order to perform as smoothly as an experienced basketball player. Your body feels relaxed and energized, and your mind is clear and free of restricting presumptions. Everything you try to do is easy when you're in this state. You need to get rid of mental clutter if you want to reach the effortless state. The hard drive of a powerful computer slows down when it is full, and the same is true of your mind when it is filled with unhelpful patterns and beliefs. And just as a computer's hard drive may be cleaned up to increase performance, doing the same for your mind might help you enter the effortless state. You can perform effortless action when in the effortless state. By doing less, you can accomplish more. Many people think that working harder would produce greater outcomes, but this is untrue. Working harder actually results in lower performance after a certain point, rendering the extra effort useless. For example, if the author writes 2 pages in 2 hours, you may predict that doubling the time will result in a 2-fold increase in productivity. However, only 3 pages are produced in a 4-hour session. This phenomenon, known as the rule of decreasing returns by economists, not only yields unsatisfactory results but also tiredness. You can accomplish your goal with effortless action without using more effort than is necessary. Additionally, results will keep coming in when you apply effortless action to the proper activities. This is what it means to get effortless results, and it's how the crowdfunding website Kiva supports millions of business owners. Anyone can give money to businesses through Kiva, and if the loan is repaid, more money is lent to other business owners. Thus, a single action generates outcomes repeatedly. You can make anything simple to complete with the effortless state, effortless actions, and effortless results. Sometimes, after spending a lot of time thinking about a subject, we discover that we are overcomplicating it. Kim, a multimedia designer at a university, was instructed to record a semester's worth of lectures for her course in this particular instance. Kim made the decision to look for a simple solution to complete the request because she was already overworked. She first inquired as to the purpose of the movies before filming and editing them every week. She advised that another student record the lectures on a smartphone after realizing they were for a student who couldn't attend class in person. Kim easily accomplished her goal by letting go of the belief that the solution was difficult. This is but one approach to entering the effortless state. Here is the main idea: we enter the effortless state when we seek for simpler or more fun solutions. When we stop believing that everything is complicated and start thinking, what if this might be easy? We start to see more straightforward solutions. This is effortless inversion, and it's how Kim handled what appeared like a difficult request in an effortless manner. The difference between feeling like we are pushing a boulder uphill and rolling it downward with a swift nudge is effortless inversion. However, there won't always be a simpler way to complete a task. In these cases, we can enter the effortless state by making the task enjoyable. Consider this: we put off doing things because they are challenging or time-consuming. However, doing these tasks isn't as difficult if we combine them with other activities. For instance, the author contacted everyone back while unwinding in the tub after returning from a lengthy vacation to a backlog of voicemails. He wishes he had had more calls to make because he was enjoying it so much. In addition to altering the way we handle jobs and obstacles, we can enter the effortless state by giving our bodies and minds some downtime. Many of us push through even when we're exhausted and distracted, which makes things feel harder and wears us out in the process. However, research indicates that working in 3 sessions of up to 90 minutes each, with brief pauses in between, improves performance across a wide range of disciplines. Limiting our daily workload to what we can finish by the next day is another effective strategy. Consider this: you are given a significant project at work, and in an effort to make a good impression, you immediately begin planning. You generate ideas, determine the resources you'll require, and establish deadlines. The project will have so many diverse components by the time you're finished planning that you'll be overwhelmed by the amount of work it will demand. But working on this project, or any other, doesn't have to be daunting with a few effortless action strategies. The main takeaway is to use effortless action to get a lot done without putting too much effort. Definition of done is the first step in effortless action. You may limit the amount of labor you perform by knowing exactly what the conclusion will be. If you don't know how the end will appear, it's simple to keep working after you've arrived at it or exhaust yourself by pursuing an ill-defined objective. Therefore, before beginning a project, spend some time to clarify your goals. Setting an overarching objective is not just for projects. Additionally, it helps with to-do lists. The author creates a done for the day list rather than a big list that he can never finish. These are the tasks that, if finished by the end of the day, will produce the most significant advancement and happiness. Now, even after you've established what done is, getting started can still be challenging. Finding the simplest obvious step and then taking it is a useful strategy. The minimum viable action protects you from overthinking and involves little effort. When Reed Hastings first considered starting a DVD rental service that would later develop into a streaming platform, he started with a minimum viable action. He sent a DVD to see if it could be shipped without getting damaged. This tiny deed influenced his subsequent actions, and more than 20 years later, Netflix is a major streaming player. Reducing the number of stages in a process is another way to take effortless action. Many steps that are part of jobs and projects need extra work but don't really add anything. Thinking on the end goal and then asking how you might attain it in the fewest steps will help you avoid this. Industrialist Henry Kramer offered a reward in 1959 to anyone who could construct a human-powered aircraft. About 50 years had passed since the first successful flight, so the task looked manageable. However, the award was unclaimed for more than 17 years. Paul McCready was the person who ultimately prevailed. He understood that participants were spending a lot of money on elaborate machines that didn't pass the flight test. His strategy was to construct something inexpensive and simple to mend. In this manner, he could test and crash the plane numerous times, learn from each failure, and then create and construct a better version. This is a fantastic illustration of how to advance through effortless action. The main takeaway from this is that progress is simple if you don't hesitate to start with junk. Many of us think that our job must be flawless from the beginning. But this only makes us move more slowly. Being brave enough to start with an imperfect version is the easy action that disproves this notion. We may learn from our mistakes and make good progress if we allow ourselves to start with a rough result. We should seek out low-risk chances to fail and learn from our mistakes in order to make starting with garbage simpler. Consider how some kids are given modest allowances to manage in order to get ready for adult monetary obligations. Being less judgmental when our work isn't quite perfect also helps. We ought to applaud ourselves for even trying rather than criticize what we've done. Each attempt will result in uncomplicated growth and subsequent advancement. Another area where we might employ effortless action is tempo, which is strongly related to progress. Even while it may be tempting to work extremely hard at the start of a project, this strategy hinders our growth over time. We rapidly become fatigued and then blame ourselves for not doing as much as we had hoped to. Working steadily and slowly is a superior approach. To accomplish this, we must find a range that keeps us going without wearing us out. A writer might decide, for instance, that she won't write less than 500 words per day or more than 1,000 words per day. Even when she has the strength to write after the time restriction has passed, this rule still holds true. If she settles into this rhythm, she will see gradual advancement. You understand how some things demand ongoing effort to sustain results? For instance, workers receive a pay each month for their efforts. They cannot put in a month's worth of work and then expect to continue receiving compensation. Never will the output be greater than the input in some circumstances. Such linear consequences are unavoidable, but they are not the only outcomes that might occur. You only need to put in a little work once to reap the benefits again. Consider how long a writer receives royalties for writing a book. Levers can be used to accomplish these recurrent benefits, which are examples of effortless results. Here is the main idea: automation and knowledge are levers that lead to effortless results. If used properly, learning is an enormously potent lever because levers are tools that magnify any effort that is done to them. Prioritize fundamental principles, or why things happen and how things work, in order to apply learning effectively. These are the knowledge's fundamental units. Once you learn them, you can use them in a variety of situations and contexts. For instance, if a student crams for a test, she will soon forget the material. She will be able to use the ideas long after the test is over, though, if she takes the time to learn them. Additionally, she can increase the effectiveness of her learning by describing what she has learned to someone else after putting it in her own words. This solidifies her comprehension. You can also benefit from learning by picking up knowledge from other sources and professions. The Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University's researchers discovered that connecting information from many fields inspires original ideas. They examined nearly 18 million research papers and found that mixing knowledge from many domains produced the best ideas. Automating as many processes as you can results in effortless results. This not only saves time and mental effort, but it also lowers the possibility of mistakes. You just need to set up a process once so that it can be used repeatedly to complete tasks. A good automation technique is to make a checklist in advance. As a result, you may complete activities quickly without having to recall the steps each time. You may automate tasks like your monthly budget, grocery shopping, and frequent catch-ups with loved ones using a variety of software solutions. You won't have to keep making the same choices, thanks to these one-time selections. In one way or another, we all work and engage in social interaction. Sadly, managing these relationships and making them fruitful can be challenging. We might have trouble communicating or coming to an agreement. Conflict can occasionally make every interaction challenging. Or we might not be certain that others around us have the necessary skills. As a result, it takes a lot more work to accomplish a goal or get results. However, things don't have to be this way. There are levers we may pull to reduce our efforts and optimize the outcomes even when other people are involved. The main takeaway is that by collaborating with reliable individuals and preventing issues before they arise, you can guarantee effortless results. When we collaborate with people, trust is a terrific tool for achieving effortless results. It functions similarly to the oil that keeps an engine's many components in good operating order. We don't have to spend time and energy managing individuals or relationships when there is trust. Tasks can be delegated knowing they will be finished. And we are confident that any issues will be brought up and solved right away. This trust begins with selecting the appropriate individuals, and in doing so, we may learn from business titan Warren Buffett. When hiring people, he seeks for those who have integrity, intelligence, and initiative. This one-time choice produces easy outcomes because such individuals will always provide value. Establishing a high trust agreement is also helpful. This establishes the basis of trust by articulating the expectations, roles, and objectives of the partnership. By defining the desired outcomes, deciding who does what, and establishing rules and standards, a high trust agreement can be created. The agreement should specify any resources that are available as well as how success will be tracked and rewarded. Now, we'll occasionally run into issues even with the best personnel present. And while dealing with issues as they come up is beneficial, preventing issues from occurring is preferable. For instance, spending a few minutes to permanently repair a problem that consistently frustrates us prevents us from having to look for workarounds. Imagine that you are hacking at the branches of a tree rather than the root. Spending the time and energy once ensures that you won't encounter the same issue again. It doesn't have to be a difficult process to get outstanding outcomes. You become more open to simple fixes when you accept the notion that life may be simple and pleasurable. And by stating your objective in clear terms and choosing a modest but important initial step, you set yourself up for a sequence of simple activities that result in steady and considerable growth. Finally, you may develop a system that generates repeatable results by combining knowledge, automation, and trust. What you ought to do in order to put your newfound information to use. Organize your tasks into meaningful rituals. You can turn tiresome duties into enjoyable activities. To give words spirit and meaning, you simply need to integrate them with an action. Marie Kondo, a proponent of organizing, advises, for instance, that each time you fold your garments, you should thank them for shielding your body. And after dinner, the author's family sings along to Disney oldies while doing the dishes. So choose a task from your list and consider how you may make it into a special ritual. Thanks for watching.